The world of games is a fascinating one, being once something for just some boys in the poverty hanging out in the parent cellar playing PlayStation and eating fatty pizza. It became for sure a mass market phenomena, and not only for kids, but also for adults, playing on their way to work or even after a busy day to relax at home. And the gaming industry has always also been an experimental space for new ad formats. I think there is no other vertical in which marketers have spent more money and resources in figuring out new formats. Michael Bork, who's our next speaker, has spent a lot of his career in the gaming vertical before he became the head of user acquisition at the Austrian-based mobile health and fitness company Runtastic. And today he is going to share what other verticals can learn from the world of gaming. So please help me getting to the stage Michael Bork. Hello.
Hey. I am, by the way, one of those pizza-eating gaming guys. I love it. So, first of all, once more, Moshi, that was amazing. I heard that he talked about this before. It's just brilliant, and it made me quite hungry now. So yeah, who am I actually? As already mentioned, I worked quite a while in the gaming industry, first for Good Game Studios in Hamburg, so a big publisher. Then for a smaller company, European Games Group, publishing casual games based in Munich. And then decided, okay, I want to switch verticals and went to Runtastic, started there early this year. Some of the games I currently play, Destiny, Divinity, 7 Days to Die, and Elder Scrolls Online. And then switching to, well, Runtastic, sports, nah, still not mine. Like, I have some people from my team here, they always try to convince me to run during lunch break, but I eat pizza. So what I'm going to talk about, basically with all that time in the gaming industry, and as I said, gaming industry, lots of spendings, you learn a lot, you're well connected. And then joining non-gaming, you see, wow, sometimes there's some stuff missing. It's just not there yet, it's a bit early. So I just give you, I called it best practices because it's just mostly my personal experience, and I would not sell that off as best practice. It's what I learned, but I still want to share it with you. And that in terms of tracking, channels, and creatives. And to make it easier, let's see if that worked. I got this small otter, which is basically me. I usually wear a beanie, just to showcase in the presentations where's the gaming part and where's the non-gaming part. I don't have a running otter because we heard already. So, jumping into the tracking part. I mean, that's basically the basis everyone has. I mean, you look at the install, you should look at registrations, and in the end, you want to purchase. That's the basic functionality everyone knows. But then gaming already really in the early stage started to just add more post-install events. We already heard now twice, track as much as you can, get the data if you use it or not, but you should just have it. So gaming started to implement events like tutorial complete, equipped an item, played one match, played 5 matches, completed one level, also joined guild, multiplayer features, played PvP matches, and this basically has heard unique events, mostly even like going up to played 1, played 2, played 3, always just a yes and no. While, yeah, in the non-gaming world, it was in the beginning at least always still the install, registration, purchase. Let's see, let's buy some installs, let's see if we get some purchases out of that in the end. Well then, at one point, well, marketing consent now got added. I think everyone tracks that as well. If not, might make sense. And looking at those now, you can kind of put them into a small cluster. So you have some events really related to the onboarding. Some I just called function events because it's the basic here, like equip rare item. But you can basically map anything in there. You have retention figures, basically the level completions, and the social engagement part, joined a guild or played multiplayer with other players. So we were thinking in our company now, okay, can we use the running app and kind of map some of the functions we have there to such a model we see in gaming, and which is just the pure basic there. So basically, yes, we can. Of course, we also have kind of a tutorial. It's an intro tour. You get the basic functions, and I think every non-gaming app kind of has something like that. Then, as a function, for example, you can add different shoes in the Runtastic running app. So you can also see, okay, is that a feature the users really like? Retention-wise, of course, like 1 run completed, 5 run completed. For me, basically, everything is a 0 there. You can join groups, and you have leaderboards, which is kind of in the middle, I would say, between retention and social engagement. So basically, nowadays, and I think that is already for most of the companies, also non-gaming, we managed to have also such a big funnel with a lot of post-install events to basically get more data in. And by now, it looks kind of similar. Sometimes, like what you see really here at the bottom, the trial started is something, it's a bit more specific. If you have basically a subscription model-based app, you might have a trial, which is not so common in the gaming industry. I know some companies are now working with that, with some premium memberships. So you might have those events which can't be mapped really exactly, but kind of in line there. But actually, why? And that's also, why would you actually do that? Why would you need all the data? I mean, we heard it already before, but it's really to understand your user. What is he actually doing there? You kind of, at one point, also get a feeling if your traffic is fraudulent. I know there's still, of course, we will most likely later on in one of the fraud talks hear about it. But sometimes you see in campaigns, wow, you have good retention rates and everything. But if you then check your post-install events, you just see that, okay, some of the events actually do not really get triggered. If you would just really have still, like back in the days, install registration and most likely the purchase. And then you see, well, you just then at one point look at the DAOs and you look at your retention rate and you might see, well, okay, no, I have a proper 7-day retention, everything looks good, the users stick around, they love my app, I have sessions. But then you see that basically they never even completed 1 run, or they never completed the first 2 or 3 levels, because this is just really faking the app session, giving you a feeling about a good retention rate. On the other hand, especially coming back to the really first presentation with a soft launch, you can really figure out if something is broken in your app. If you just continuously monitor those post-install events and all of a sudden see a massive drop, or it doesn't trigger at all. Might, of course, have been wrong implemented, but still, it's a good indicator. And I don't know how it is in your companies, but wherever I worked, it's mostly the UA people who then approach it. By the way, have you had a look at this? Those numbers look really, really weird. Something didn't work out. So also from the UA side, you can really push that and get your product checked a bit more. And it's also a good proxy to purchase, especially considering running Google UAC campaigns, which was really a pain in the beginning for everyone, most likely might still be, but therefore you just need those events to really get, and then test around to get the best event for yourself to see, okay, this correlates really hard with my purchases. I mean, you saw the trial start event is of course something which makes total sense because people who try it out, the premium features might really convert better than people who just don't. And then you can run those CPA campaigns on that. So at least in our case, that's the old presentation. Nevertheless, I had a small pop-up there. It helped us to increase our spendings by 40% with a stable ROI. So just by looking more at the post-install events and optimizing the campaigns towards them. The next small part I wanted to jump in, and I already see I have to speed up, is, it's okay? Okay. It's the creative part. So creative's also kind of interesting field. I mean, in gaming, you always have those many variations, iterations. It's also easy. Most of it is just in-game recording. You put some fancy CGI stuff around it or some overlays, so you just can easily do that. You test it constantly, you have all formats available, and you can always quickly jump in and replace the advertising because you just have so much around. While depending on the size and your app, it's still like this old school campaigning view, like those huge, okay, now we have the summer sale, so we make a TV spot, and then we run this TV spot and everything. Thus, you're already limited in formats, you're limited in quantity of ads, and always, all the time, the production effort, it is like a TV spot. And this is kind of the thing that it limits your flexibility a lot. So, what can you actually do? Or what should you do? You should always try to increase the amount of creatives, the ones you have. You should try to just do simple recuts, just rearrange parts of the video. I mean, if you really go and you have a fancy app and you go out there and you make a TV spot actually, there's a lot of footage around it. Try to use it. Try to iterate on it. Just also keep track of which creatives are performing and just leave them in. In the gaming, even in the gaming industry, I had 30 degrees outside, summer. I had my Christmas creatives running. I mean, they performed. The people clicked. They converted. I didn't care. It doesn't fit? Yeah. But as long as it's working, why should I turn it off? I just didn't see any point in that. And try to, especially, and that's what gaming always showed, they show a lot of in-app footage. The users want to know if they install an app, what do they get? What can they really do with the app? And not just, in our case, if I see someone running outside, I still want to know, okay, but what has this now to do with the app? So also showing the functions, the tracking, the leaderboards, that just really improves the quality a lot. Also, one thing I just also learned in the gaming industry, I saw that a lot, if you do not have portrait videos, just fake them. Take a square video, take a landscape video, put some static stuff around it. This performs, and it also gives you access to more inventory, which you would not get just running on landscape. So also by iterating a lot on the creatives, we increased the CTR overall by 60%. Doing the math from 1% to a bit more, it's like, then the numbers sound amazing, but it's still running on Google, running on Facebook. This drives down your CPI and improves your ROI in the long run. And the last really small part I wanted to jump in is the channels. I also saw some of the network guys here, so it's about you. In gaming, it's basically, I think everything has been tested there. There are a lot of affiliates as well, media buyers. There's programmatic search engine advertising. Back in the browser game time, Google was massive with search campaigns. You just basically do everything. You try everything and find what works best for you. While in the non-gaming, it was always a bit slower. You knew, okay, well, those are the clients. I run social advertising. I run on Facebook. Depending on the market, you even switched a bit to more local ones, but that was always the basic. A lot of social and also a bit search advertising. I mean, Google was switched to UAC at one point. Kind of this entire thing dropped out there, but there's still Apple. But then looking at the video, especially the video networks, there's one guy standing down there hiding in an Iron Source shirt. That's actually potential you can get. By now, I mean, I guess everyone here has any game on their phone. If not, it would be impressive. But this is just inventory you can use, and it can help you to gain users you might not have seen before or you might not have reached before. And it doesn't say anything about this is not the target audience. So, and the other advantages of that is, well, you can really, if you need the volumes, work with networks. They can really scale up in different geos. They have the fixed CPI, or you can run on a CPA model, so you're not running into a real risk like setting up a Facebook campaign where you don't know the targeting at all, and all of a sudden it doesn't convert and it goes mad. Oh, I'm over the time. And the other thing, but then it's just to wrap it up.
I would say another 3 minutes you would have, if you want to.
7 seconds.
3 minutes.
But I would only need 7 seconds. You have less channel dependency and you just learn more about your audience. So for us, for example, it was really interesting that players who play sniper games perform in our fitness apps four times better than casual players. Random, but it's good to know, and it helped us also to broaden the targeting again. And if we then roll out with other partners, we already know, okay, we should get those action game players. And that was basically it.
You completed your session on time.
Yes.
Yes. Any questions from your side? We have a question over here, and the microphone just follows.
So, you said that you think people should track the marketing consent. How do you do that?
Basically, we track it over a web form, we track it internally, and with the server-to-server, and from Edge, just ping it back to them.
So if they withdraw their consent, can you do that? Can you
Yes.
see that somehow as well?
Yes, we do exactly the same. We get it in our internal data, ping it back, and automatically can also remove it from our audiences we created there. Which then again, if you use them in Facebook, also gets updated there.
Okay, so you have a negative list.
Yes.
Kind of. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you.
Now that we learned from you what you've already done in the gaming vertical and how you could also attribute that to your new company, I mean, running is a bit like gaming, or it can be seen also a bit like gaming. So there are those elements, right? If you do that in a community and you're running for points and all that kind of stuff. So do you also see some limitations in the approach of taking those gaming verticals learnings and then applying them to other verticals?
I mean, it might get sometimes hard with, let's say, classical, really e-commerce. But still, I think you can, some of those parts always check, like tour onboarding, definitely, that's in. Instead of then, for example, what I said, track a run, track 5 runs. Why not add 1 item to the wish list, add 5 items to the wish list? And then, of course, you might not necessarily have the multiplayer or social engagement part, but for example, you could still, if the app has the feature to share that things with your friends, track this, to just see, okay, which are the people who really interact with the platform and show it to others. And the purchases you can still track. So I think that there are always certain limitations, but overall, you can always find a way to map some of the functions within your app to a classical gaming approach.
Great. Thank you very much.
Cool.